Oh, wait, do we not hear me? Oh, what happened to my voice?
No, I hear you. We all hear you.
Excuse me. All right. So,
Well,
you got to think about Trump. Apparently he appeals to people who, as Walter Lippmann once put it, feel rather like a deaf spectator in the back row. So Netflix should have a matchmaking category. Like, here are 10 other people who also watched a full season of Grey Anatomy in one day in your area.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you make your girlfriend cry while having sex? Phone her. So bad.
That'll do it.
What do we call mobile porn? Flash drive.
Oh! Ching.
Bada ching, right, bada ching. Which sexual position produces the ugliest children? Ask your mother. And with that, let's give a big hand. Before we get her up here, come on up, why not, because you're going to close the show out. I want to tell everybody next week I won't be here. The rest of them will do everything. You guys are wonderful. Let me tell you, all of you that are sitting in the audience, you make this show every week. We all have a blast. We hope you do too. It's our show. This is us in Second Life, laughing, having fun, as opposed to being in First Life, sitting in a traffic jam like Doc Grun used to do. So there it is. Why not go right to the end and you close it out? I'll say goodnight and you close it out, okay?
Okie
Great
dokie
work,
pokey.
everybody.
Well, a guy in a Chinese restaurant goes, "Excuse me, but this chicken is rubbery." And the waitress goes, "Thank you very much, sir. Thank you." A woman and her boyfriend just left a wild party. They're speeding down a country lane in a sports car, and the woman wants some fun. So she strips off her dress so she can flash all the passersby. Unfortunately, the man gets distracted. He crashes the car. The naked woman's thrown clear, but the boyfriend's trapped in the wreckage, and the only cover the woman finds is the one shoe of her boyfriend, so she holds it over her crotch, runs to a nearby garage, sees a mechanic, and goes, "Help! Help! My boyfriend is stuck!" And the mechanic looks at the goes, "You're going to need a doctor, miss. He's too far in." This elderly couple are in a romantic mood, and while they're sitting in the love seat, the old lady goes, "I remember when you used to kiss me every chance you had." So the old man leans over and he gives her a peck on the cheek. Then she goes, "I remember when you used to hold my hand all the time." So the old man reaches over and he puts his hand on hers. And she goes, "I also remember when you used to nibble on my neck." And the old man sighed and stood up and started shuffling out of the room. She goes, "Where are you going?" He goes, "To find my teeth."
Oh.
That was sweet. Sweet little couple.
Isn't it cute? I love that. I just love that joke. Anyway, this mother traveled cross country to watch her only son get married and graduate from the Air Force the same day. And he goes, "Mom, thanks for coming. It means a lot to me." She goes, "Of course I'd be here. It's not every day a mom watches her son get his wings and have him clipped all in one freaking day." This teen girl, Sarah's watching. Her mom's trying on this expensive fur coat in a high-end department store, and she goes, "Mom, do you realize some poor dumb animal had to suffer just so you could wear this coat?" And Sarah's mother turns and snaps, "Do you think about how much I suffered, and don't call your father an animal anymore."
Oh.
Sweet.
Wise men visited Joseph and Mary in the stable to see the newborn son. The extremely tall wise man hit his head on the door and he went, "Jesus Christ." And Joseph looked at Mary and he goes, "Whoa, write that down. That's better than Clyde."
Yeah.
A church pastor's invited to dinner at the house of a parishioner, and the pastor sits at the table with the family to eat. And the mom asks the little daughter, she's only 6, to say the grace before the meal. So the little daughter's just sitting there in silence. It's okay, dear. You can do it. Just say what Daddy said before breakfast. The little girl folds her hand and goes, "Oh, Christ, why'd you invite the pastor over for dinner tonight?" This kid's late for school one day, and he tells the teacher, "I'm sorry I had to take the bull down to mate with a heifer." And the teacher says, "Well, couldn't your father have done that?" And the kid says, "Well, yeah, but the bull would have done a better job." This teenager's caught smoking pot behind the local convenience store, so he's arrested and put in the county jail. And the arresting officer advises the young pothead he's got one phone call from the jail. So the team makes the call, and he goes back to his cell. And about a half hour later, this man shows up. The cop goes, I assume you're the boy's father." "Oh, no, I'm here to deliver a pizza." I taught for 37 years, and this one really tickled my fancy. A teacher asked her student where the English Channel is, and the student goes, "I'm not sure. We switched cable companies last month."
Yes.
On a visit to see his grandma, a teen boy listens as she goes on and on and on about the cost of living. "When I was a young girl, you'd go to the store of the dollar and come home with enough food to feed your whole family for weeks." "Well, Grandma, we learned about that in school. It's called inflation." "Inflation nothing. It's all these darn security cameras they got here today."
Nice.
After 30 years of marriage, a husband and wife go for counseling. And when they were asked what the problem was, the wife goes in a tirade. She lists every problem they ever had all the years they were married. She goes on and on. Neglect, lack of intimacy, emptiness, loneliness, unloved, unlovable, a whole list of things that she's endured. And finally, after a length of time, the therapist gets up, walks around the desk, asks her to stand up, embraces and kisses her really passionately and really long. And the husband's looking up with his eyebrow raised, and the woman shuts up, and she sits down like in a daze. And the therapist turns to the husband and goes, "This is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do this?" And the guy goes, "Well, I can drop her off here Monday and Wednesday, but Friday I got to go fishing."
Yeah.
This husband and wife go into a restaurant. The waiter comes to the table to take their order. "I'll have your biggest, juiciest steak," the husband says. "Well, but sir, what's about the mad cow?" the waiter asks. "Oh, hell, she'll order for herself." That's terrible. Well, a waiter came over to the table and asked a customer how his meal was so far. He says, "How'd you find your steak?" The guy goes, "Well, shit, I just pushed over a ton of mashed potatoes on the side, and there it was." Hey, do you all know what Forrest Gump's email password at work was?
What?
One,
What?
Forrest. One. One,
Oh.
Forrest. One. Oh, I like that one. Am I going too long?
No, go ahead. We got
No,
nobody
no.
else, so you're closing
We
out
got
the
those
show.
things-
Enjoy
Nobody
yourself.
coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
This woman accompanies her husband to a doctor's visit, and after the checkup, the doctor calls her only in the office, and the outlook's not good. Your husband's under a tremendous amount of stress. If you don't do exactly what I tell you, he may not even see the end of the month. Every morning, make him a healthy breakfast. Do the same at lunch and dinner. Always try to be pleasant around him and keep his spirits up. Don't burden him with chores or stress him with the details of your day. And at night, if he's up for it, agree for any request for sexual pleasure. If you do all this, he'll live a long life. So on the way home, the husband's like, "What did the doctor say to you in that closed meeting?" She says, "You're going to fucking die."
Oh! Oh!
That's awful. This chicken walks over to a duck standing on the side of the road, and the duck's considering crossing. Don't do it, pal. You'll never hear the end of it, the chicken says. Well, a man rings the doorbell of a small house, and this old woman answers. I'm sorry, but I've run over your cat. I'd like to replace it if I can. All right, but how good are you at catching mice?
Oh.
Ah, shit. Two bats are hanging upside down in a cave, and the first bat says, do you remember the worst day in your life? The second bat says, I sure the hell do. It was the day I had diarrhea. Hey, I'm going to change my Facebook name to Benefits. So when somebody asks me on Facebook, it's going to say, you're now friends with Benefits.
Yes.
A cop came to my door yesterday and said, where were you between 4 and 6? And I said, probably kindergarten or first grade.
Oh.
This drunk man stared at a big billboard for more than an hour. The billboard advertised soda. Wanted the world to drink Canada Dry, so the drunk bought a bus ticket to give it a shot. This lady on a commuter train's reading a newspaper article about life and death statistics. So she's fascinated. She goes to the man next to her. Oh my God, did you know every time I breathe, somebody dies? And he goes, God, really? Have you tried mouthwash? And?
What happened?
My last
Oh, okay.
My last one is a cowboy's caught by some Indians. He's about to be executed, and they ask him if he has a last request. So he goes, yeah. He walks to his horse and whispers something in the horse's ear, and the horse takes off like some mad thing over the hills and returns after a short while with a naked, gorgeous blonde on his back. And the cowboy takes the blonde to the teepee, has sex with her, and he comes back and he requests another talk with the horse. And the Indians are amazed, so they let him do it. He walks over to the horse. He whispers in the ear again. The horse takes off. He comes back with a redhead. The cowboy takes her in a teepee, has sex with her. Well, this happens again, and the Indians agree. So he walks over to the horse, and he whispers something else. He comes back with a brunette, and the cowboy takes the brunette in the teepee and has sex with her. And then he comes back out, and he asks for one more talk with the horse, and the Indians, totally amazed by it now, they agree. And he walks over, the cowboy, to the horse, and he goes, I'm only going to do this once fucking more. Now read my lips. Posse.
Oh!
And that's my gig.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks, Why Not? Did we have a great time again?
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Did everybody have a good time? Whoa. We
Yeah.
Thank you all for staying and enjoying. We wish you all the best. Next week, you guys run the show, and I'll be back the week after. So thank you. Thank you for all the new comedians. Mike, come back and do more, really, okay? Salty, we love your stuff. And Salty's becoming a regular now. And to everyone else, see you and the rest of you, thanks so much. Good night, and see you next week. Woo! Yay!
Thanks, Warren.